Fireside Chat number 3. 17 years old, bike impounded, wound up in jail, and suspended from high school for 2 weeks. Let's talk about that. Good moto morning. Beautiful people, welcome to another episode of Kraken's Garage, and I'm your host Eric, and on Kraken's Garage we discuss all good things on 2 and 3 wheels, plus some scooter and mini moto content. Today's episode is a Fireside Chat number 3, and I have my coffee, and I'm going to share a page out of my moto journal. Now, before I tell this story, I need to put a clause on here. People need to understand that it was a different world back then in the late 70s when I got into all this trouble. You do this in today's world and you're in a world of hurt. So I don't recommend anybody do what I did. This is not I have a list this long of things I wish I hadn't have done. This one falls under that category. So I'm telling you, don't do what Uncle Kraken has done in his lifetime. It's not the wisest thing. So let's get to the story. I was living in Virginia in the 9th grade, and I wrote my pops a letter and said, hey, can I come live with you? I'd kind of like to get to know you. And graciously he accepted that, he and my stepmother. So off I went to California to finish up my high school, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in Long Beach, California. It was a hard transition to come from the country to Southern California environment for me. So like any other kid that age, I was just trying to fit in. So I attended high school and I just purchased my first motorcycle, which was a 1977 RD 400. Bought that bike new off the showroom at Long Beach Yamaha for $1,200 in chappy red. And I had pipes on it and blah, blah, blah. That's another story for another day, but sounded like a herd of bees going down the road with those 2-stroke chambers popping. Now back then I was 6'4", and I promise you I didn't weigh 135 pounds soaking wet. I was an absolute string bean. So I was an awkward kid during my high school years, being so tall and thin. At that period of time in our lives, California started busing kids, and the idea behind it was to take some of the underprivileged kids from different areas and bus them into the privilege and vice versa. So when I started high school, I started out with a lot of blacks, Chicanos, Samoans, and Filipinos, and we had a cultural melting pot in my high school, which was a good thing. It taught me to get along with many different cultures and understand different types of people. So good stuff there. That was really good, groundbreaking development during my growth and youth as a young man. I rode my RD 400 to school every day, and I was a very good student, 4.0 student. The school system was just super easy for me. Don't ask me why. I don't know if the schools were harder in Virginia and easier in California, but all you had to do was pay attention, and I was almost guaranteed an A+ in every course I took. It was amazing. So I had an easy ride through high school. So in my high school, the way it was set up is they had bungalows all around in kind of a square formation. During World War II, they actually had anti-aircraft guns bolted to the roof of this joint so that if the Japanese attacked California. So that's how far back these buildings went. So, and you had like a quad in the center of all these buildings with palm trees and whatever, and that's where everybody would eat lunch and hang out. So I got the bright idea that I was going to hop on my motorcycle and ride up the steps and through the hallways of one of those bungalows and right down the front steps of the school. So I ditched school or ditched the class thinking I could get away with this. That was the brightest thing I ever did in my life. So I fired up the RD 400 and ring, ding, 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 and off I went right up the steps. Blasted down that hallway. Class was in session, so no one was in the hallway. I had clear sailing all the way down the hallway. My golly, the noise that bike made echoing off the hallways as I was ripping through there. And I shot out of this bungalow and went down the front steps of the entryway to the school. And as luck would have it, a Long Beach police officer happened to have been cruising by when I shot down those stair steps. So I'm like, oh, snap. So I got on the pipe, jetted out of there, doing Mach 1, and next door to the high school, or very close in proximity, is a golf course. So I hopped the curb and rode up on the golf course and figured the police officers wouldn't chase me across that golf course. That was a big no. That cruiser hopped right over that curb and chased me right across the golf course and pinned me in the corner where a fence was. So I politely got off the bike and shut the bike off, and we all know what happened there. I got carried away in cuffs and taken down to the city jail. So I shared with you in an earlier story that my father was a test pilot. So he got called at work and they radioed him. He was up in an airplane to come and get your son. He has caused a mess here and he's in severe trouble. So he had to land the plane and come get me. My God, he was hot when he got there, and rightfully so. So he took me home. Jail was not really happening. That was just a holding cell for Pop to come and get me at that time. It wasn't like I did anything really heinous there. So he took me home. Let's just say I got a huge butt chewing on that one, and then some. And then sometimes 10. So I was working a job in this fish and chip joint down on the beach, and so I always had pocket money going on, and I had to go pay to get my bike out of the impound. I had to pay a bunch of fines for, of course, all the laws I broke, and I got some serious tickets from Long Beach police. Let's just say it cost me about $500 to unwind that situation, almost half the cost of that motorcycle. So Pop drove me down to the chief of police and made me sit down with him and apologize to him and his staff. He took me to the high school and I had to sit in front of the principal and apologize to the staff for that. They were posturing that you're on suspension for the next 2 weeks due to this clowning around that you did. And I'll see you in 2 weeks and we'll decide what we're gonna do with you. So I had to apologize to them. And then a month later, I had to go to court for all the infractions. And the judge in Long Beach and I were pretty much on first name basis. I was in there so much. And he just threw the book at me and I'm like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir. And wrote a check and paid all the fines, licked my wounds and went home. I should say the judge suspended my license for 6 months, so I got to skateboard to school for the next 6 months while my bike was in lock and chains in the garage till I got out of jail on that one internally with the city of Long Beach as well as my dad. So the 2-week suspension was up and Dad and I had to go down to see, in this case, the vice principal. And again, they were posturing about throwing me out of that school permanently. And I looked him dead in the eye and I said, no, you're not. And Mr. Ware, the vice principal, was super hot. And he's like, what the heck are you talking about? And I said, well, with all this busing going on, the GPA of this school has taken a major hit. You need my 4.0, and that's how this school gets funding from the state. He said, get the heck out of my office. And Dad told me to wait in the hallway. The vice principal and Dad talked about it, and whatever they said, I don't know. There was a lot of yelling going on. And I was asked to come back into the office, and he's like, I'm going to allow you to continue to school, but you even stub a toe and you're gone. Yes, sir, won't happen again, sir. So I'd mentioned this quad in the high school or whatever. Clearly it had gotten around who had done this in the high school and whatever. So the next time I skateboarded to school and I walked in with my skateboard and I walked into the quad during lunchtime, there must have been hundreds of people in there. The whole quad got quiet for a split second, which seemed like an eternity. I'm like, oh snap, here it comes. I'm gonna get a beat down here at school. And I swear on my father's grave that every kid in that quad was like, yeah, that was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life. You're the man or whatever. They were all high-fiving me and I just like, thank you as I'm walking through there. It paved the road to Easy Street for the rest of my high school days. Every culture in there thought I was the man and, opened up the door to me sitting down at their tables or sitting with them at lunchtime and things like that, and helped a lot of them with their homework and stuff to help them get through schools. Although it was the stupidest thing I ever did in my life, hands down the stupidest, but it was one of the most beneficial things because for once in my life, I was the man in high school for a brief moment. as corny as that sounds. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate on this video because it was a jackwagon maneuver, but I'm not going to lie, I am who I am. When I started this channel, I never once stated I was an angel. So my penalties at home continued on for much longer than 6 months as far as making things right, and I continued to get tickets in Long Beach, and the judge and I became, let's say, close friends. I all but sent him a Christmas card every year, and it was a good time in my life. Actually, it was one of the best times in my life. One other thing, my friend Colby out in California asked me about this hat. What's with the upside down LB on it? And I had this hat custom made, and what it represents is me. And when I was in Long Beach, this redneck Virginian, smack dab in the middle of Long Beach, California, I always felt like I was upside down, and that's what this hat represents. So I hope you enjoyed today's story. To all my end watchers, this week's shout out goes to 2 digbys and 1 Indian. Jax and Dave have 139 subs, and they have 91 videos out that. Think about that, folks. That's almost 1 video per sub. They have been grinding for a long time, and they have a darn good channel. So this is an easy shout out for me. Their mission statement is what you can expect to see on their channel are lots of motorcycle travel. And the power goes out, nice. Lots of motorcycle travel vlogs and motorcycle reviews featuring the Indian motorcycles and everything in between. They love all bikes, but their choice is the Indian motorcycles. Their baby, they call Miss Tennessee, is a 2018 Roadmaster Elite. In 2 weeks, a good friend of mine, Nathan, Outback Outlaw, is a motovlogger here on YouTube as well, is going to be hosting a live interview with Jax and Dave. I hope you folks can make that and talk to them and ask them questions. They're lovely people. They've ridden their Indian Roadmaster Elite around Australia twice. They've traveled to the United States to attend the biggest Indian event in this country. Like most Australians, their banter between one another, between Jax and Dave, is absolutely hilarious. They are epic people doing epic things on their Indian Elite Master. So let's get these people up to 200 subs, you know? It's really hard to do YouTube and put out that much content and only have 139 subs. Go over and check them out. The links will be down below. If you like their channel and you sub to them, please let them know that Kraken sent you. Thank you very much. And there's my ghost dog, Daisy May. She is here to tell me to wrap up this video in Kraken's Haunted Garage. Clearly, the powers are going off and on. It's very windy today. And if you would like to become a Patron, the link is listed down below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more in the future, hit that subscribe button right down there in the corner. And remember, folks, go riding. It's good for you, and I'll see you in the next one.